Hello everybody, how are you? How is everything in your world? Guys, this video is about one of my favorite towns, good old H-Town. It's going to be Houston, Texas. And the title of this one is 10 Things You Can Only Do in Houston, Texas. Number 1, guys, you can only see former residents of the South Pole in Houston, Texas. Now let me explain. When people leave the South Pole for whatever reason, maybe better job prospects, maybe to be closer to the oil industry in Houston, whatever it is, when they leave the safety and security of the South Pole, their homeland, where do they go? They go to Houston because they recognize that Houston welcomes all, and it is one of the best multicultural melting pots in the whole country, if not the entire world. So folks, if you want to meet some cool people from the South Pole that are now living and enjoying America, living in and enjoying America, you got to go to Houston because that's where they live. There's not a lot of them, but man, just knock on the door and they'll welcome you in. They'll share some of those South Pole food recipes with you. They'll share some of that Antarctica music, okay, that everybody loves so much. It's a combination of hip-hop and Icelandic rap. Guys, it's an exciting thing. Former South Pole residents only in Houston, Texas. That's number 1. Number 2 on our list of things that you can only do in Houston, Texas. Well, everybody loves Houston for the food, for the great music, for the international flavor of the town. And one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the crazy mishmash of zoning laws that results in the Houston Ballet next to an oil, lube, and tire change shop, the unbelievable patchwork of zoning throughout the city that results in a strip club next to a Presbyterian church. And the reason this works so well and that nobody seems to have any problem with it and just accept it as a way of life in Houston is because back in the day, at the very beginning of Houston, there were 4 plots of land in downtown Houston. 4. And there were 6 people, I think 5 or 6 people that wanted to homestead those properties, right? You had a blacksmith, you had a saloon, you had a minister and his wife and their 17 kids that wanted to build a house, and of course you had, which has always been a feature of Houston ever since, you had one of the first erotic dance clubs in the country. That was in the very beginning of Houston back in the 1640s. And ever since then, there's been they had to make sure that all of those people get along. And ever since then, there's been a feature of Houston, and part of the nature of the city is that we are not going to restrict zoning in any way, because part of the appeal of our city from the very beginning has been the way the residents get along and work, live, and love each other. Whether it be a dance club, whether it be a golf course, whether it be a hair cutting shop, whatever it is, we don't care how who is next to who, because that's the way it's been from the very beginning of Houston's history, and it has stuck ever since. Guys, it's inspiring. That's number 2 on things you can only do in Houston, and that's see an incredibly diverse mishmash patchwork of zoning that you'll never see in any other city of that size. Number 3 in our list of things you can only do in Houston, everybody likes a square dance. If you don't like the square dance, you just haven't tried it. I mean, unless you've do-si-doed with some of your family and friends for hours on end to some of the best square dance shot callers in the business, well, guys, you just haven't lived. And very few people know that the best square dance instructor in the world, the best square dance caller instructor, the guy that teaches the square dance callers, is in Houston. Jim Squarejaw Shotsky. Jim Squarejaw Shotsky is a renowned square dance caller teacher. All of the best have had their training and tutelage under Jim Squarejaw Shotsky. And if you want to do that, if you want to learn from the best, you got to go to Houston. Why? Because it's number 3 in our list of things you can only do in Houston. Get the best square dance calling training in the world. Number 4. Folks, Houston is in the Galveston Bay climate zone. What that means is, if you've never been to Houston in July, you haven't experienced humidity so thick you could cut it out with a knife and sell it as blocks at a garage sale. Blocks of humidity that are solid. You could cut them out of the air and sell them. I don't know what they'd go for, maybe $1.50, but you know, it's a good way to make some extra money if you're a college student, you're strapped for cash. So a lot of people say, well, I don't want to live in humidity that thick. Guys, it's a resource. You can cut out that humidity, you can melt it down, right? You can reshape it into bowls, you can reshape it into lampshades. It's a resource. You can burn it as fuel if things are tight. So that is number 4 in our list of things you can only do in Houston, and that's cut the humidity blocks out of the air and use them as a fuel source, or sell them on eBay or Amazon Marketplace, even Facebook Marketplace. Make some extra money. That's number 4, guys. What's number 5 on our list? What's that? Oh, the Worldwide Insect Museum. Folks, not everybody loves bugs, but in Houston, they make it a point to become friends with bugs, become friends with insects. And that's why the Worldwide Insect Museum is right there in Houston, where you can see all kinds of bugs from the Houston area in one place. So if you're scared of bugs, if you have a fear of bugs, that's the place you want to go. Because what they're going to do is they're going to let you put the various bugs from the Houston area on your arm, crawling on your arm. They'll put 7, 10, 15, 50 bugs, if you want, all over your body. And what that'll do is that'll force the fear out of you, guys. It's an amazing service, and that's only at the Worldwide Bug and Insect Museum right there in Houston. That's number 5. I think it's number 5. Again, I lost count. We'll do an extra one. We'll do an extra one just in case. Number 6 on our list. Oh man, I really need some help from a counselor. Joe, what seems to be, what's bugging you lately? I just can't seem to count. Well, you need to stop making them silly videos. Let's go with number 6 of things you can only do in Houston, Texas, guys. Sure, you've played beach volleyball, but have you played beach volleyball hitting the ball back with empty vodka bottles? Yeah, it's called vodka beach volleyball. And the idea is you take a shot of vodka in the last 2-3 gulps of a bottle that's been consumed by the bar. They hand you the bottle with the last 3 gulps. You put the ball in the service by bumping it with the vodka bottle. As the ball sails into the opponent's zone, opponent's side of the net, you chug those 2 or 3 shots of vodka that are left. Now, they have to do it too on the other side. And of course, games like this, folks, have lasted 2 or 3 days, because what happens is after a very short period of time, nobody can seem to make a winning point. So it's a lot of fun. It's almost like cricket. You know, cricket lasts 2, 3, 4 days, a couple weeks. They've had some vodka beach volleyball games that lasted up to a month. It's a lot of fun. Take the whole family down there. Watch your favorite family member make a complete fool of themselves. But make sure they jump in an Uber on the way home. Folks, that's number 6 on things you can only do in Houston, Texas. An amazing city. Everybody loves H-Town. Number 7. Number 7, if you've been to Daytona, if you've been to Indianapolis, if you've been to Talladega, you've seen the best in motorsports. But who is the best, where is the best short track, short track racing in the world? It's at the Houston International Short Track Raceway and Discotheque out there in Tomball, a suburb of Houston. Guys, if you like dancing and if you like short track racing, you got to go out there, because what they'll do is they'll play the latest dance hits from Post Malone, from Rihanna, all of them. And they'll let you go out there dancing around on the track as the short track racing is taking place. The cars are zooming around, people are dancing. It's unbelievable fun. And the latest thing that they'll do, they'll give you a string of lights that you strap to your shoe, and it changes red, green, and blue depending on the song. Your shoes are all lit up. Girls have them, guys have them, and they put the same LED lights on the wheels and bumpers of the car. So it's one big light show of heel and toeing, dancing and rump shaking, and short track thunder. I mean, guys, only in Houston can you see this. You got to go down there, check it out. If you like dancing, if you like romancing, if you like short track wheels of thunder, you got to go down there to Houston. That's number 7. Number 8. Folks, cities all have their strengths, their weaknesses. But one of Houston's weaknesses is that people don't realize it's such a center for higher education. There are so many great schools in Houston that people don't realize. You've got the University of South Houston. You got the University of North Houston. You got the University of West Houston, the University of East Houston, all part of the University of Houston Excellence University System. And right in the middle of that diamond is the 25-story University of Excellence Library. Guys, it's one of the biggest libraries in the world, one of the biggest research libraries, one of the biggest academic libraries for studying, for students getting ready for their tests. And so many Houston residents can talk about the first time they necked, the first time they made out, with another freshman in college was on the 3rd floor of this library, 25-story library. And as they got older, juniors and seniors, they'd go up to the top floors and more would go on. But we can't talk about it because this is a family channel. But guys, it just points to the level of education and dedication to academic excellence in the city of Houston. And that 25-story library is one of the 10 things you can only do in Houston. Number 9. What a fascinating city. I don't know if 10 is enough. We'll do one extra, but gosh, I don't even know if that's enough to cover all of the things. And like I said, it's in that Galveston Bay temperate zone, right? And what's the nature of that? What's some of the plants you'll see in that? Well, palm trees. Palm trees are a feature of that Galveston Bay humidity temperate zone. It's a combination of ocean and desert, when where they meet and clash in the middle is where Houston is. And that's why palm trees, they're not as tall as you might be picturing, like from Los Angeles or Hawaii. These palm trees are like 7 feet tall. So they're good for if you want shade for your dinner. You can put them on your patio. If you want a little nice breeze to rustle the leaves and lull you to sleep as you try to, toss and turn in the thick Houston humidity at night, it'll give you that quiet rustling that'll calm your nerves and put you to sleep. But, you see those movies from Los Angeles where somebody's in a convertible and they're looking up at the sky and you see the straight up shot of the palm trees going by. Well, you really can't do that when the palm tree in Houston, when the palm trees are 7 feet tall. Now, what you could do is get on a kid's big wheel, those old school big wheels. If you're into photography and videography and cinematography and you want that effect, get on a big wheel and crouch down, and you might have to bow out your knees in order to pedal, and then pedal like that, and then shoot up if you're looking for that exotic, that feeling of growth and wonder that palm tree sky shot gives you. That's one way to do it, but other than that, it's just such an interesting phenomena that they have these short, squatty palm trees throughout the Houston area. And in fact, some communities have chopped them all down and they stack them up on the corners so the kids can jump off them and wear these little parachutes and land on the ground safe and sound. But that's number 9, folks. Number 10, this is really an amazing feature of the city. A lot of people have rideshare. Okay, it's pretty common to have rideshare in. It's pretty common to have rideshare in places like all over. They've got Lyft, they've got Uber. Well, there's a service, and New York has Juno. It's another service. So depending on the community, they have different services. Lyft and Uber are pretty common to most places in the United States. In Houston, they've got a service called Hubift. And what it is, it's a combination of the word Houston, Uber, and Lyft. Hubift. Now, what they'll do is, if you are in an Uber and you all of a sudden they won't or can't take you any further, the Hubift service will come up alongside your Uber or Lyft. And for whatever reason, if you need to transfer, maybe somebody is to drop off here, you don't want to stop because you want to catch a plane, you don't want to be late for a plane, but somebody in the car needs to go to the bathroom at the SO station coming up on the corner, you dial a special number, and all of a sudden the Hubift is just in Houston, paid for by the city. The Hubift car will pull up next to your car, whether if you're in an Uber or Lyft or whatever it is, even if your grandma's driving you just around to do your chores. If you got grandma or grandpa driving and you're just picking up stuff, maybe you needed some paprika, okay? But anyway, the Hubift car will pull up next to your car and you can jump to a platform that comes out, and you jump onto the platform, and then some of the employees inside the Hubift car, they'll grab you and they'll pull you in. And it's such a great feature because you don't have to worry about getting dropped off, and then are they coming? You're checking your app. Are they coming? Are they not coming? Sometimes on that Uber or that Lyft, you're looking down and you're like, are they moving? I can see that's my driver, but they don't seem to be moving. Maybe they had too many Big Macs and their stomach is loading them down and they fell asleep or something. But in this service, you don't have to worry about that. You jump during traffic. Now, if you're a minor, they're going to strap a helmet on you, okay, and put a safety line just in case. And then you'll be hanging from the safety line like a bunch of grapes, okay, if there's a problem. But that's a safety feature. Guys, those are 10 things you can only do in Houston, H-Town. We all love it. It's one of the best cities in the country, and of course in the world. And let's do a bonus thing. A lot of people don't know this. The secret menu at Whataburger. Now listen, Texas is Whataburger. Whataburger is Texas. We're not saying that Houston Whataburgers are better than the others. You're going to have the same excellent Whataburger experience no matter where you go. But keep this on the down low. Only in Houston is there the secret Houston Whataburger menu. In other words, there's items that are not on the menu that if you give them the wink and you ask to see the secret menu, they will take it out of their back pocket. They're not supposed to show anybody. And they'll slide it to you. What they'll do is they'll seal it with a stamp, okay, from the post office, because they don't want them. They don't want any kind of. They don't want to. They used to seal it with wax, okay, and they'd stamp it with a brass stamp, but it looked too fancy, and that's not Whataburger. Whataburger is a restaurant of the people. So you're saying, well, great, I'll do that, but what's on the secret Houston Whataburger menu? Well, guys, I can't talk about everything because let's face it, it's on the down low. I mean, I'll probably get jumped just sharing this information with you right now. But one thing I like is the 9 stack. Now, what's the 9 stack? The 9 stack is 9 hamburgers high. It comes up about, I'd say, 2 feet tall. All right, and you say, well, how are you going to eat that? Well, the thing is, it's best if you have some upper body strength, because what you want to do is squeeze it down, push it down like this, and get it to about this high. Now, once you get it to about this high, don't let go. I mean, there's been people that have let go, and that 9 stack sprung out over the restaurant, and those patties became like flying discs, and they injuring people all over the restaurant. Now, they're not going to do any permanent damage. Don't worry about it, but it's so embarrassing. And it kind of says I mean, it's kind of like, do you even lift, bro? I mean, if you can't hold a 9 stack down to like a 3 stack size and squeeze on it until you can get a bite, I mean, you got to hit the weights, dude. Do that, whoever it is. So that is the one thing I like. Now, keep it on the down low. Do not share this information about the Whataburger secret Houston menu. I mean, they'll slide it to you, but don't just open it up and go, hey, look at this, a 9 stack, because people will be rushing the counter to order the 9 stack, which is 9 hamburgers high, and they won't know to squeeze it down like I just told you, and then all of a sudden you got hamburgers flying all over the restaurant. It's dangerous. But guys, you're gonna love the 9 stack. It's delicious. Throw some tomatoes on there, throw some onions. You got yourself a meal that'll last you up. You could probably won't eat again for another week and a half. So guys, that's a bonus that I'm sliding in there because frankly, I lost track of the numbers as I always do. But it just also shows the abundance that is in Houston. All of the things that you can do, and all of the things on that list you can only do in Houston, Texas.